I think it's pretty safe to say that 2K26 is a game with a fair bit of variety. And what I mean by that is you can play with pretty much any playstyle, and if you know what you're doing and you're decent enough at the game, you're gonna get some wins. However, I've been seeing a lot more of two specific playstyles ever since Fades got nerfed. The poster machine merchants, you guys already know what I mean. They will shoot a couple threes, get poster machine, and then just force up any dunk. I mean, it's not really a playstyle as much as, it's just a takeover, but you guys get it. Poster machine is absolutely crazy. But on top of poster machine being wild, I've been seeing more and more people using floaters, and floaters are stupidly good this year. So I kind of figured, why not make a build that gets both poster machine and legend float game? Which, by the way, for anyone watching this video right now thinking I'm just delusional or something, no, floaters are really that good. You can do them from about 20 feet away from the basket this year, and they have a huge green window. Obviously, I am in my court right now, so my green window is going to be bigger in here than it actually is in something like Rec or Proving Grounds or anything like that. But you guys get it, floaters are still easy to make regardless of difficulty, regardless of what mode you're playing. And believe it or not, there's actually a way to make them even better, because if you pair them with a high pass accuracy build that has bailout, you can go up with floaters so recklessly and just pass out of all of the bad animations you get. I wish I was joking, but if you guys use floaters this year, you would know that sometimes you get the best animation in the game that just floats you past somebody for an open shot, and then sometimes you jump straight into a defender. There's really no between, but bailout completely negates that. Now, without further ado though, we do need to hop into this build. So the very first thing you guys are going to want to do is make it a 6'9" small forward, 7'2" wingspan, and then 185 pounds on the weight. Once you have made it to the attribute screen, we're going to skip right past close shot and go to driving layup, where we are going to put this all the way up to an 88. Now, most of you guys can probably already tell what I'm getting at here, but with that 88 driving layup, you unlock gold float game, and since float game is a tier 2 badge for pretty much every build in this game, you can easily max +2 it to legend, and legend float game is where you get the huge green window boost. Oh yeah, and by the way, for anyone who's curious as to why we're not going higher on driving layup, in my opinion, it's just really not worth it past an 88, maybe a 90 if you have the strength to get gold physical finisher, but it's just a very expensive attribute, and as long as you have gold float game, you're getting the best badge in that category, so like I said, just not really a lot of value there. That being said, moving on to driving dunk, you guys are going to want to put this at a 71 on the dot, because with the glitchy cap breakers on this build, 4 caps will get you to an 89. Meaning, not only are you going to have that legend float game, you're also going to have contact dunks, and then you can +1 posterizer. You could also +2 it if you wanted. And you could have a setup of legend float game, Hall of Fame posterizer. You're obviously going to get access to poster machine takeover, which is arguably the best in the game. This build kind of gets everything, if I'm being completely honest. Well, maybe not everything, because we're only going to have a 45 standing dunk, mainly because it was going to get forced up by vertical. But, 40 standing dunk in this game is also just really good value. It ensures that when you're under the basket, you're going to dunk that thing 9 times out of 10, and you're not going to get blocked by some 7'4" Wemby build in the Rec. We've all been there, all right? You think you have something, and then 2K gives you the most dog shit animation, and it gets pinned against the glass. It happens to the best of us. That being said, for the next attribute, you guys are going to want to put your post control to a 60. I know this seems really weird because we don't unlock anything, but this is actually what allows us to get the cheesy cap breakers on our driving dunk. Don't ask me how it makes any sense, but if you lower your post control, all the cap breakers go to +1 and they're not glitched anymore. So I don't know. I don't know how that makes any sense. I don't make the rules. Don't ask me. Moving on to the shooting though, we are simply going to go with a 78 3 ball and then an 83 free throw because it is the best value according to 2K Labs. Now I know what you're thinking right now. No mid-range? Listen, we do not need mid-range because we have floaters. I know I mentioned that earlier, but some people might comment like, isn't mid-range still useful? Well, if you can do a floater from the same range every single time, it's kind of a waste of attributes to put mid-range up. And as for the 3 ball, a 78 is more than enough to hit consistently in this game. I have about 6 builds with a 78 to an 83 ball, and I shoot 70+% on damn near all of them. So if I can do it, listen, I think I'm a good player. I don't think I'm the best player in the world by any means. you can do it too, all right? You can easily shoot 70+% with a 78 3 ball. Going on to playmaking though, here is where we are going to spend a lot of attributes on this build. You guys are going to go with a 94 pass accuracy. This is obviously, so we can +5 this later and get every passing badge on Legend. Because as I mentioned in the intro, driving layup, right? If we're putting up floaters, we need to be able to, bail out of them if things go wrong. And having Legend bailout, in my opinion, is the only real way to make that playstyle viable. Because if you have it on a lower tier, you might get the ball out, but your teammates are going to get horrible catches, and occasionally it will sail out of bounds, which is not good. Now, granted, I will say this. You could definitely get away with either a 94 or a 96 pass act if you wanted to +1 or +2 bailout, but unfortunately, bailout is a tier 1 badge on pretty much every build this year. Maybe some bigs get it on tier 2, but either way, it's an expensive badge, it's tier 2. You don't really want to be spending your max +2s on that over something like set shot specialist. It's just not worth it. Also, not to mention, 99 pass act is one of the cheapest 99 stats in the game, so it's not the end of the world. Now, moving on from that, we are going to go with an 80 ball handle and a 75 speed with ball. That way we can reliably dribble on this build, and this is kind of why I made the build in the first place, right? We are pretty much the tallest height that can consistently create your own shot. And, that height advantage also helps us out a lot on floaters, because if we have a perimeter player on us, they're probably going to be, 6'7", 6'8". We have a height advantage. We can put that floater right up over the top of their head. Moving on to the defense, though, it is not bad by any means on this build. We are going to go with a 60 interior defense, an 85 perimeter, a 73 steal, and a 78 block. This is pretty damn good in my opinion. All right, 73 steal. You are more than competent in passing lanes. 78 block. You can easily, get away with silver high flying denier, or you could +1 it to gold, +2 to Hall of Fame, whatever you want to do. And you're playing lockdown defense, especially considering that 85 perimeter is a lot better than it looks on a 6'9", because you have on-ball menace in the tier 2 slot. Tier 2 on-ball menace means, let's say you have finishing specialization. You put +2 on that float game to get it to Legend. You can also +2 on-ball menace to get it to Hall of Fame. Meaning you have a build with Legend passing badges, Hall of Fame on-ball menace, Legend float game, Hall of Fame set shot specialist. You can do basically everything. Oh yeah, and speaking of doing everything, we have an 80 board on this build with a 77 O board. So you can reliably snag. You are no slouch on the glass. Now, that being said, if you've made quite a few builds this year, you would know that attributes don't matter in this game without physicals. If you have terrible physicals, it doesn't matter if you have 99 everything, your build is going to be ass. And that is why we saved enough points to get an 85 speed, an 85 agility, a 73 strength for a movable, brick wall, gold strong handle, silver physical finisher. And finally, we have enough to get an 80 vert to reliably get shot contest, block shots, and snag boards. There is nothing to dislike about this build. And when you do go ahead and fully create the build, you get the archetype two-way diamond finisher with shades of Cooper Flag, Danny Granger, and RJ Barrett. Now here's the thing, if you're feeling scammed like, dude, that is not the title I was promised, I got y'all. We gotta apply those cap breakers and then we'll get it. When you do finally put the cap breakers on driving dunk, that is when you get the name two-way dual finishing dimer, which in my opinion is absolutely fire. Now you guys are going to notice on my build right here, I have my pass act fully maxed out. I also have one cap on perimeter. So what did I do differently on this build than what I just showed you guys? I mean, I put my perimeter to an 84 and then put the 3 attributes on O board just so I could also have access to, a third name, which is a diamond layup artist, which I thought was a lot cooler at the time I made the build, but I think two-way dual finishing dimer is way better in my opinion. Y'all can let me know if you agree in the comments, but either way, here's the rest of the cap breaker screen right here. It's pretty damn good to say the least. And what's even crazier about this build is if you have enough caps, you could also put the vertical up to a 90 since all these are +2s. And don't sleep on a 90 vert in this game. That makes you a very good rebounder and it makes your shot contest and blocks a hell of a lot better. But either way, now that you guys have kind of seen the cap breaker screen, I do want to go ahead and show you guys the max badges I'm using. Keep in mind, I'm not fully complete on this build. I don't have my dimer or break starter maxed out, or my aerial wizard for that matter, but everything else is at its full potential. Now, for my max plus 1s and 2s, here's what you guys are going to see. We're using Rebound Chaser, High Flying Denier, Set Shot, On Ball Menace, Handles for Days, Lightning Launch, Posterizer, and then Float Game. Now, in my opinion, this is the best overall setup of badges for this build, but I know not everybody is going to have, finishing specialization. Maybe you have shooting, for example, and that's going to leave your tier 1 open, but your tier 2, you obviously can't use on ball if you want the Legend Float Game. So what do? Which, in my opinion, in this plus 2 slot, you absolutely need to have Float Game if that is the case for you, since it is a big increase from Hall of Fame. But from there, obviously, I still recommend using On Ball Menace, so either swap out, I would not swap out Lightning Launch. Gold Lightning Launch is crazy value this year. I would take High Flying Denier down and then put Lightning Launch right here. And then, whatever specialization you have down here, maybe it's shooting, maybe it's playmaking, whatever it is, just figure out what you guys are going to do with those badges. Just once again, make sure that you have Float Game in this plus 2. Now, that being said, that is pretty much going to be the entire build for today's video. But before we go ahead and end this thing, let me quickly show you guys my animations, because a lot of y'all were mad at me in the previous videos that I forgot to, or I didn't show them at all. So I got y'all. So if you need any good ones, make sure to just copy these right here. They're all very, very solid, and I'd like to think I know what I'm doing for the most part. I'd say about 98% of the time, but sometimes I miss out on some fire animation, which if you guys have any recommendations, make sure to leave that in the comments, but this is pretty much what I'm using. But as always, if you guys did end up enjoying this video, I would greatly appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel, as well as left a like and a comment letting me know what you thought. And by the way, we will have gameplay on this build very, very soon in the future, so stay tuned for that. Anyways, it's been Gravely. Peace.